Hello, I'm Adinser and this is my basic Holy Paladin guide for patch 6.2. It is mostly aimed at new WoW players and those who never healed before but want to try the Holy Pala out. If you already know the basics, click on the annotation on the screen to go to the normal guide with an in-depth discussion of talents, glyphs, macros, add-ons and so on. So let's begin. The history of paladins in general has been a mixed bag over the past 10 years. While not always being good at healing, tanking or DPS, and not always having fun gameplay, they were an integral part of the Warcraft universe, and when playing one, you felt awesome by striking foes with hammers imbued by the light and healing friends with its help. In other words, paladins have the most grace and elegance out of the classes. Now, in Warlords of Draenor, whatever spec you play, paladins have more of a support role, similar to the way they were in vanilla, but with a lot more interesting stuff to do. Meaning, we have a lot of spells that, if used correctly, can avoid mechanics in raids, dungeons, PvP and everywhere else. That is one of the reasons paladins, no matter their spec, will always be needed in a raiding team. As holy, you give a lot more security to the tanks and thus the entire raid. And we'll get to that shortly. Plus, you don't waste mana while spamming heals the entire fight. And that's why they are the most reliable healer there is at the moment. Having said that, let's go through the base healing spells. The intended gameplay of the Paladin is keeping balance between your mana and holy power. You have 5 holy power and it is gained with only 2 spells. Those are Holy Shock, which is an insta-cast heal that can target enemies as well and deal damage. And the other one is Holy Radiance. It is a really weak AoE spell that heals 6 players in 10 yards of the first target. Has a high mana cost and heals for almost nothing. Because it is so weak, the only reliable source of holy power generation is Holy Shock. And that holy power can then be spent on 2 spells, Word of Glory and Light of Dawn. Both need 3 holy power to be cast and have a cast time of 1.2 seconds. Word of Glory is a single target spell and Light of Dawn is an AoE spell that heals random players around you. But same as Holy Radiance, Light of Dawn is a really weak spell and can be used in only one situation, and we'll talk about that later. Now, in between the Holy Shock, Word of Glory or Holy Radiance, Light of Dawn, if you're doing AoE, we can cast a few spells. First is Holy Light, which heals for the same amount as Word of Glory, has a 2-second cast time and 3k mana cost. The reason I'm mentioning mana cost is because it's negligible at best. You can spam it all day without going home. Then there is Flash of Light. It is a stronger version of Holy Light that heals for the same amount, but has almost half of the cast time of Holy Light. The major drawback is that the mana cost is doubled, and because of that it is only used when you don't have the time to cast Holy Light, meaning when the quicker heal is more important than your mana. There are a couple of ways to manage these spells, but there is one simple way and it is the best in most situations. Before we start with that though, let's look at the rest of the spells that influence our gameplay, including the talents. For beginners, your talent tree should look like this, more or less. And a more in-depth discussion of them will be in the next video. Holy Prism is a default pick in the level 90 talent tree. It is an insta-cast heal or damaging ability. When targeting an enemy, it deals damage to it and heals 5 nearby allies for the same amount. That is the best way of using it, however, you can use it to heal 1 ally and AoE 5 enemies nearby. But that is used only by protection paladins. Beacon of Light is a buff that, when placed on an ally, mimics 50% of the healing you do on other target. The last spell is our only major cooldown, Avenging Wrath. It increases the healing you do by 100%, it also boosts haste, crit and damage by 20%, and lasts for quite a while. Lastly, let's examine our passives before getting a clear picture of what to do with this spec. The important ones are Infusion of Light, Enhanced Holy Shock and Daybreak. Infusion of Light reduces the cast time of Holy Light and Holy Radiance by 1.5 seconds, so the cast time will be super fast, and increases the amount healed by Flash of Light by 50%, so you get this buff when your Holy Shock critically hits, so it's really important to use it whenever you can. Your Holy Light and Flash of Light have a 10% chance to cause your next Holy Shock not to trigger its cooldown, so that means that you get 1 extra Holy Power, and a little bit of healing. And finally, Daybreak. After casting Holy Radiance, your Holy Shock heals 6 nearby targets for 15% of the healing done to its first target, and it stacks 2 times. One more thing I would like to mention is our Mastery. Basically, whenever you heal with any spell, except for Beacon of Light heals, you put an Absorption Shield on that target heal for a percentage of the heal, and the greater the Mastery, the greater the shield. The best way to play this spec goes like this. Put your Beacon of Light on the tank if you're in a dungeon. If in a raid, put Beacon of Faith on the second tank, so you can heal them both passively throughout the fight. Then build up 5 Holy Power before the fighting starts, so you have 5 Holy Power at the start and can use it when needed. You can also build up your Mastery if you're really bored. Use Holy Shock on cooldown. That's the most important thing. Even if no one's injured, you can use it on an enemy or to build up your Mastery on a tank. Put either Eternal Flame or Sacred Shield on the tanks and try to maintain them as long as you can. However, this isn't a priority. What is a priority though is spamming Holy Light on party and raid members that need healing, while you wait for the Holy Shock cooldown, and when you don't have enough Holy Power for Word of Glory. That way, not only do you heal the target you're targeting, but both of the tanks as well, and you have a chance to proc your Empowered Holy Shock for extra Holy Power. When Infusion of Light procs, use it on Holy Light unless you really need the buffed Flash of Light for the extra healing. Use Holy Prism after AoE damage hits at least 5 people and you need to heal them up quickly, in an instant. Do this until you see that other healers can't keep up, or you yourself can't heal everyone above a certain percentage of health, depending on what you're doing. Then you must use Avenging Wrath, and you have 2 options. Either continue doing what you have been doing so far, or use it like a raid cooldown, even though in truth it really isn't. The way you do that is by spamming Holy Radiance, Light of Dawn and buffed Holy Shock with Daybreak. You will most likely top everyone off in 15 to 20 seconds or sooner, even with more incoming damage. But then you will end up with almost no mana at the end of the Avenging Wrath. That is why you should mix the two and go with a balanced approach of AoE and single target, and that is if and only if the other healers don't have their major AoE cooldowns and you anticipate that your raid will wipe. If they do, just do what you normally do, but it will be with more power, and you can easily top everyone off in most situations. Lastly, let's take a look at our utility and other spells. Divine Shield is one of the strongest defensive cooldowns in the game, making you immune to everything that can harm or hinder you for 8 seconds. Luckily it was buffed a couple of times in the past, so now it only reduces the damage you do in those 8 seconds instead of decreasing the healing you do as well. Of course, you use it when you are in trouble and can't heal yourself effectively, or if you want to avoid incoming damage in order to save your mana or save a cooldown. Keep in mind that the cooldown of the spell is 5 minutes, and when used you get a debuff called Forbearance that lasts 30 seconds and makes Lay on Hands and Hand of Protection unusable during that time. Now, as for those two spells, Lay on Hands is a 10-minute cooldown or 12 with the glyph that heals you or an ally for the amount of your maximum hit points, and it costs no mana or holy power. It also puts Forbearance on you or another target. This is mostly used on the tanks since they need that form of instant healing most of the time, more so than other players. But it can save anyone else as well, and it is a great spell when in the hands of Retribution or Protection Paladins as well. Hand of Protection is a lesser form of Divine Shield in that it only makes you immune to physical damage and physical hindrances, but its strength lies in the fact that you can use it on anyone else, while you can use Divine Shield on yourself only. And this is where the support role of the Paladin comes in. With this spell, you can do wonderful things and make your, for instance, raiding experience a lot more enjoyable. Use it on other healers when they are taking aggro and can survive or can't heal. On yourself when a boss is interrupting everyone or just you for an extended period of time. And you can even use it to save a tank's life when he is on low HP with no defensives left and he is about to die. Just be sure to tell people that you're using it on them. Another spell that counts as a support spell is Hand of Sacrifice. It transfers 30% of the damage the targeted player takes to the Paladin. But with the glyph of Hand of Sacrifice you don't receive the damage, but the target still has the 30% buff. It is on a short cooldown and has 2 charges with the talent Clemency, same as Hand of Protection and Hand of Freedom. Now, Hand of Freedom is a short cooldown spell that makes the target immune to all movement impairing effects, so that's roots and slows. It is better to use this spell than dispel players that are rooted or slowed almost every time. Divine Protection is our only personal damage reduction cooldown that reduces magical damage you take by 40%, or if you have the glyph it reduces 20% of magic and 20% of physical damage, and lasts for 8 seconds with a cooldown of 1 minute. Whenever you are soaking some boss ability or have odds on you, use it. Devotion Aura is a really powerful raid cooldown that reduces all damage taken of the entire raid by 20% for 6 seconds. It got a major buff in 6.2 in that it now reduces all damage taken instead of just magic damage. This is the only ability that you have to coordinate with your raid in terms of cooldowns, so make sure to do just that. Then we have our standard melee interrupt that functions as any melees would. There are our 2 buffs, of which we can use only one, Blessing of Kings that increases primary stats for 5% and Blessing of Might that increases mastery. In terms of damage, we have a few spells. Denounce is really powerful, it has a short cast time, and when used on players or adds, not bosses though, it reduces their critical chance by 100%. So make sure to spam it on adds if there isn't a need for you to heal at that moment. Don't underestimate our damage. Holy Shock is part of the DPS rotation since it does quite a bit of damage, as well as generating 1 holy power, so you will be keeping it on cooldown even if you're not healing anyone with it. Judgment is useless since it doesn't scale with spell power as the rest of the abilities do, and you should remove it from your bar. All the other spells do a lot more damage. And the last one is Hammer of Wrath. It does the most damage, but it is only usable to targets below 20% of their health. Speed of Light is our only movement speed increase, and it works like a rogue's sprint would. It increases our movement speed by 70% for 8 seconds. Our dispel is called Cleanse and removes all poisons, diseases and all magic from the target and has a cooldown of 8 seconds. Lastly, Turn Evil is like a Warlock Fear, but can only be used against undead, aberrations and the demons. It has its uses in a couple of situations. That should cover all of the spells at our disposal. So, when you master this simple enough playstyle, you will be the envy of your guildies and should be able to become the main healer in no time, no matter what guild you are in, because Holy Paladins are just that damn reliable. So those are the basics. If you have a question or disagreements with anything I have said, please write in the comments below. And again, if you want to learn more, please check out the next video. Thanks for watching and see you next time.